One of the biggest health mistakes after 50 is also one of the easiest to miss. It's how you drink water. Most people think if they're not thirsty, then they're fine. But after 50 especially, that assumption can destroy your health before you even realize that there's a problem. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 biggest water mistakes people make after the age of 50. Just how bad it is for you if you make the mistakes, not water itself, and then how to drink the right way so that you're not accidentally sabotaging your health. And I'll be saving some of the biggest ones for last, which you won't want to miss. Over 15 years ago, I started to learn and understand how to do water right. I thought it was very simple, but I was way off. So to start, I'm going to show you the #1 biggest water mistake for people, especially after the age of 50. It's the one literally putting people in the hospital. And I did my senior doctoral research paper pertaining to this, and this is one of the main causes. So for years, the rule was 8 glasses a day for everyone. Then people heard the rule was debunked. So then a lot of them swung the other way and just said, I'll drink when I'm thirsty. And that works okay, works decent when you're younger, but a lot of our thirst mechanisms are actually broken. They're not triggering us to drink when we should be drinking. And after 50, that strategy of only drinking when you're thirsty can really wreck you because you're not getting the triggers, you're not getting the signals. Your thirst signals stop working the way that it used to as you age. In younger adults, when the body is low on water, a region of the brain lights up and stays on until you've actually rehydrated. But in older adults, that same region switches off way too early or gets confused for hunger, and it gets worse with time. And after age 60, the drive to drink starts to fade with every decade of life, which is why one of the biggest studies on aging and hydration found that nearly half, 50% of adults over the age of 65 are chronically underhydrated. And the effects it has on your health are not small because 70% of your body is water, at least, or it should be. There's a long-term study that followed adults over 60 for years. And it found that the ones who were chronically dehydrated lost their mental sharpness faster than the ones who weren't, even after accounting for age and health. Dehydration is also one of the biggest causes of dizziness and falls in older adults. Falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death in people over 65. And on top of that, dehydration makes nearly every major health condition worse. A major review found that chronically dehydrated older adults have higher mortality rates, longer hospital stays, and worst outcomes for almost every major disease. High blood pressure, heart disease, kidney problems, diabetes, joint issues, and even strokes. So whatever you're already managing, dehydration will make it significantly worse every single day. So fortunately, the fix is simple. Stop drinking only when your body is asking for water. Instead, we need to reprogram that area of your brain. We need to trigger it. We need to wake it up with drinking on a schedule. So start your day with at least a glass of water. 16 ounces is what I go for. Then drink again mid-morning, drink with lunch, drink mid-afternoon, have water with dinner. Some of you may need to resort to your phone and set an alarm every hour. You have a few sips. Every 15 minutes, you have a few sips. That's all it takes to stop accidentally sabotaging your health simply because you don't feel thirsty. The thirst mechanism is broken, my friends. We have to wake it back up. Let's go to mistake #2. I want to show you the mistake that people make on purpose, and then they end up paying for it in ways that they never see coming. You see, a lot of people over 50 will drink less water because they don't want to keep running to the bathroom in the middle of the night. If you're already getting up at night, or you're worried about finding a bathroom when you're out in public, drinking less feels like the obvious move, right? I've already got disrupted sleep, doc. I don't want more disrupted sleep by too much, but that will backfire very quickly. It's because when you don't drink enough, your urine gets concentrated. And when your urine gets concentrated, it actually irritates the inside of your bladder for obvious reasons. It's kind of sitting there with waste in it and just in a holding tank. So instead of needing the bathroom less, you end up running to the bathroom more. with that sudden can't hold it feeling that comes out of nowhere. Plus you're still dehydrated because your body's like, I got to expel this quickly, makes it more urgent, and you end up still dehydrated after the fact. Not only that, it gets worse over time. The longer that you restrict water to manage bathroom trips, the more irritated your bladder gets. So you drink even less to compensate it, and then that cycle continues. The second way older people end up drinking less water is skipping it in the morning. You sleep 7-8 hours with no water, losing the fluid through breathing and sweating the entire time, as I said, about 16 to 20 ounces. Then you wake up and you go straight to coffee. Now, coffee is not the villain. I'll explain that later. It's actually a little surprising the more and more we research it. But your body needs water first. Even a 12-hour gap without water is enough to impair your focus and slow down your reaction time. That's the gap between dinner and the next morning for most people. So you're starting the day mentally behind before you've done anything. Not getting enough water throughout the day also raises your risk of kidney stones. Water flushes out the excess calcium oxalate crystals that can form the stones in the first place. So when you're running dry, those crystals stick together and they start to build up. And that can eventually turn into the kind of pain that puts people in the ER. So to avoid running the risk of starting your day dehydrated, drink a full glass of water as soon as you wake up, before the coffee, before the food. And ideally, you could add a lemon to it to get the bile flowing. And I'll show you some other things to add to it that are the #1 preventers of kidney stones long-term later in the video. Then make a point to front load most of your fluids before 6 p.m. I'm not saying drink right before bed, right, for bathroom breaks, but if you front load it and you're steadily watering the grass all day long, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and then you downshift, you're hydrated and you're not going to wake up. You stay hydrated overnight without flooding your bladder at bedtime. Now, #3, what happens when you realize at 3 p.m. that you haven't had any water all day long? You ever do this? Oh my gosh, I forgot to drink all my water. And then what happens when you try to make it up for it by chugging a huge bottle in one go or quickly moving through your water bottle? Most people think, check, I just fixed the problem. But they actually can make it worse, and I was guilty of this one. Your kidneys can only process about 34 ounces of water per hour. Anything past that goes straight through you. So when you slam 20 or 30 ounces at once, most of it never reaches the cells that actually need it. It's not how much you drink. It's what you're absorbing. It's the whole point of this video. All you're doing is making yourself go to the bathroom. So instead, try to make a point to take a few sips every 20 to 30 minutes throughout the day. Like I said, you can even set a timer to start training your brain to do this. And then keep your water where you can actually see it. You might need multiple water bottles on your desk, on your counter, in your hand, in your car. Research shows that people drink significantly more without even thinking about it just because it's accessible. Out of sight, out of mouth. And if you realize you're behind, don't panic. Don't chug 40 ounces. Instead, drink 8 ounces, wait an hour, drink another 8 ounces, and then keep sipping from there. That's how you give your body time to actually use the water instead of just flushing it away. And finally, remember that your baseline goes up depending on your circumstances. Hot weather, gonna need more. Exercise, gonna need more. Fever, travel, any illness, especially one with vomiting or diarrhea, all those raise how much fluid you need. Air travel is a sneaky one because cabin humidity is so low, your body loses a lot of water just sitting there. So make sure you hydrate when you travel a little extra. Just make sure you adjust on the days when your body does need it more. Let's go to 4. I'm going to show you the free hydration test that most people flush down the toilet every day. Your urine tells you exactly where you stand, how much you're absorbing into those cells without a visit to the doctor. And it only takes a second to check. And research shows it correctly reflects your hydration status about 80 to 95% of the time, very accurately. That makes it more reliable than almost any other check you could do at home. Here's the scale to kind of get into your head, to memorize. That pale straw, pale yellow, means you're in the target zone, real pale yellow color. Keep doing what you're doing, right? If you get too just crystal clear white, you're pushing too much, right? The kidney can only process that 30 to 40 ounces every hour. You're drinking too fast. Just very pale yellow, just a little tinge of yellow. Now, when it starts to get a darker yellow, right, a more just normal yellow, that means you're mildly behind. Drink a glass now, maybe a glass in the next hour. It's going to catch you up. Now, if it starts to turn even darker yellow or even starts to go an amber or like a honey colored, not a honey consistency, a honey color, it means you're moderately dehydrated and you need to rehydrate right away. If it gets to that brown or orange, severe hydration, call your doctor. That's a situation. That's the whole test. Now, here's the part that gets most people over 50 especially in trouble. A lot of older adults look down, see dark urine, and assume that's just what it looks like at their age, but it's not. Actually, a chronic warning sign their body has been sending for years. They just never learned what it meant, never paid attention to it. Now, if you notice that it is dark first thing in the morning, just yellow, right? Not a light yellow, then you don't need to worry as much if it's that way just in the morning. But if it still looks that dark, like on your second or third trip to the bathroom, that's something to pay attention to. And if it stays dark, no matter what you do, it's probably worth bringing up to your doctor. But early in the morning, you're getting rid of some of that waste and it should start lightening up during the day. We want to stay that way all the way up till dinner time. Number 5, you can do everything we've covered so far. Drink on a schedule, sip throughout the day, wash your urine color, and still end up dehydrated. That's because hydration isn't just about what you put in, it's about what's being pulled out. After 50, there are a few common things that drain your body's reserves every single day, and most people have no idea what they are. The first one to look at is your medication. Water pills, those are the obvious ones. They are designed to make your body release more fluid, but also blood pressure drugs. If you are on those, if you're on diabetes medications, pain relievers, there's several other common prescriptions that pull fluid out of your body as well. And then here's where it gets dangerous. After 50, most people aren't on just one medication. It starts to average around 5 or 6 for people over 50. Then 3, then 4, then 5. Dehydration effects stack on top of each other because of what those drugs are doing to the body, the side effects. You owe it to yourself to look into the side effects if you are taking medication. And ironically, a lot of these medications are prescribed for the exact conditions that dehydration makes worse. This is the stuff that makes me passionate and a little bit pissed off. You're prescribed a high blood pressure medication that dehydrates you, that makes blood pressure worse. So ask your doctor, ask your pharmacist, talk to them if there's anything you're taking that has a dehydration risk associated to it. And if that's the case, how much extra water should you be drinking to compensate? We want to get on that schedule. We want to be hydrating and getting our amount in each hour. Now, the second one is alcohol. And alcohol blocks a hormone called vasopressin. And that's the one that tells your kidneys to hold on to water. And when that hormone drops, your kidneys go into overdrive, and then you lose more fluid than the drink contained. So you're going net negative. That's why when you wake up after having too many drinks, you feel dry. It's one of the reasons for headachy and foggy. So if you are going to have alcohol, match it with equal parts water. Try not to drink on an empty stomach, and then don't let alcohol replace water as your evening fluid. Got to still be putting fluids in. Now, real quick, because we mentioned it earlier, how about coffee? How about tea? Specifically more coffee. We'll put tea in this category. A lot of people think coffee dehydrates you, but it doesn't. At least not nearly as much as people make it sound or what we maybe previously thought. Researchers actually put this to the test. They compared people who drank coffee every day to people who drank only water, and the hydration levels came out about the same. The reason is simple. Your body builds a tolerance to caffeine's mild diuretic effect. So for most people who drink a cup or 2 a day, coffee actually starts to count towards the daily fluid intake, not against it. Now, you still want plenty of good source, clean water, but your coffee, not as big a problem. Can't be the only thing you drink, but actually counts towards it. It's good news. Final mistake. So we've arrived at one of the biggest mistakes of all. And ironically, it's the one made by people who think they're doing everything right. They drink water all day long. They sip instead of chug. They even check their urine color. And yet they still walk around tired, foggy, and dehydrated. And after I did my initial studies and kind of experienced my first mini water workshop, this is where I still was. I was still doing it wrong. My lymph system was off and I was still not absorbing the water. So it's extremely important because it's not enough just to drink water. You also have to make sure that you get the minerals that pull water into your cells. Those minerals are called electrolytes. Some of the big ones are sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And if you don't get enough of them, the water you drink just sits in your bloodstream until your kidneys flush it back out. A lot of it does. So you can drink all day long, go to the bathroom constantly, and still be dehydrated at a cellular level. I had cellular blood work. This is how I discovered it. Now, here's where it gets serious after the age of 50. Just getting older can make electrolyte imbalances more likely. 2/3 of adults over the age of 40 already have some level of natural kidney decline that makes it harder for your body to keep these minerals in balance. That's why we see so many deficiencies with potassium and magnesium in the population. And when that balance tips too far, especially when you flood your system with just plain water, that's what I was doing, the sodium in your blood drops to really kind of dangerous levels. It's called hyponatremia. And the symptoms look like weakness, nausea, headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, and brain fog. In severe cases, it can trigger sudden severe confusion, the kind that often gets mistaken for like dementia and lands people in the emergency room. It's so common that in one study, more than 50% of patients admitted to geriatric wards had hyponatremia. Half. Now, that doesn't mean you should start chugging sports drinks to get your electrolytes in. Most of those are loaded with sugars, they're loaded with dyes, and your body doesn't need those things. Instead, you can get a lot of your electrolytes from real food. For example, you can eat potassium from avocados, sweet potatoes, and spinach. We need a lot of potassium. It's extremely important. You can get magnesium from my favorite, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and leafy greens. Black beans is another one of my real favorites. You can get sodium, right? We don't have to overdo it, but we're overdoing it in packaged foods. We're overdoing it in processed foods. We're overdoing it in fast foods. We need real salt that was mined from the earth, broths, olives, that's where you get the good stuff. Now, with that said, food alone usually can't keep up with what our body actually loses, especially after the age of 50. That's why I drink electrolytes every single day. It's why I put it in my water to make sure that my body actually uses it. This is what drove the cell absorption correction in my body. Drinking enough water, but I wasn't getting it absorbed. If you're going to do the same, there are two things you need to look out for. The first is the most important. It is the type of salt. This is a massive differentiator with all the electrolytes and electrolyte drinks on the market. A lot of them use generic NaCl, sodium chloride. That's it. That's what you'll see on the label. That's why I read ingredients. Or you'll see a basic sea salt. The problem is that regular salt and regular sea salt has been shown to contain chemicals that are in the water, PFOAs and other chemicals. And then on top of that, even more importantly, you miss out on the wide range of minerals that you get when it is a true from the earth mined salt. So that's why I use a mined salt. The one I use comes from Himalaya, and that is what is in my electrolyte formula. Salt quality matters a lot. It is a huge differentiator out there. The second thing to look out for is the sweetener. It boggles my mind how many electrolytes, drinks, and powders have sweetened their products with sucralose and other artificial fillers. If you've not seen my video, the most common dangerous toxin hidden in most foods, you need to check this one out. It's on sucralose, and it is shocking what it does to your liver and does to your heart. But so many electrolyte brands use this exact sweetener. So that's why I sweeten mine with a stevia or a monk fruit. No artificial sweeteners or junk that are going to work against your health. Like I said, I made two versions. One is a straight electrolyte. It is just perfect if you want just clean hydration. Make it taste a lot better. There's a lot of fun flavors, and it tastes really good as I drink more of it. My kids drink more of it. We have another version that's electrolytes plus energize. And this one gives you the electrolytes, but you get natural clean energy on top of that. That supports your heart function, not an energy drink that wears out your heart. It actually promotes and supports your heart function without any stimulants in it. And when you order either one of those, I also give you an electrolyte recipe book. And that's why our family is consistently using these to make popsicles and jello and gummies and mocktails and a lot of fun drinks. I'll drop a link below if you want to check those two out. Now, once you have your hydration dialed in, there's one simple upgrade that takes it to the next level, and that's lemon water. When you do that right, lemon water doesn't just hydrate you, it helps your liver absorb bile. It supports your blood sugar. It gives you a daily hit of vitamin C. It helps you prevent those kidney stones we talked about. When you put in electrolytes, magnesium, and potassium, and lemon, those are the 3 most powerful ways you can prevent kidney stones. And then it even improves your skin from the inside out. Here's the catch though. There's a handful of common mistakes that people do that can completely cancel out every one of those benefits. So that's why I made a video called the top 5 lemon water mistakes that can actually work against and damage your liver. Now, these mistakes are so common that over 1 million viewers have already seen this video and getting help from it. Most had no idea that they were making the mistakes. I'll show you how much lemon to use, when to drink it, what not to add, and how to make sure you actually are getting the benefits instead of canceling them out. I'll include a link to that as well below. Click it to watch it next, and I'll see you there.